What's good, everybody? Now, personally, I've tried almost every diet in the book. I've tried carb cycling, intermittent fasting, caloric deficits. But the reason the ketogenic diet stands in a class of its own is because of the speed with which it burns fat. But when it comes to keto, the biggest downside is the psychological aspect. It's very difficult to execute a zero carb diet properly. Now, in the state of ketosis, refeed days or carb up days are very crucial, but you need to know the science of it and you need to know how to execute it well. Now, some people can carry on their ketogenic diet forever without doing a single refeed day. But for the vast majority of us, you definitely need some kind of a carbing up day, some kind of a cheat day, something to just keep you sane. Okay, now let's get into the science of why you need a refeed day. Reason number one, it regulates your hormonal system, especially the hormones leptin and ghrelin. Now, there are certain situations where your leptin levels actually go really low. One of them is when you're under starvation, when you've completely depleted your body of food. The second kind of situation where your leptin can go really low is a low carb diet situation. Now, you got to remember the ketogenic diet is not a normal routine for our bodies. Our bodies aren't used to deriving energy from ketone bodies. Our bodies are used to deriving energy from carbs. And that's why while you're following a ketogenic diet, your body actually thinks that, okay, shit, I'm under starvation, so I might as well protect all my fat stores. So its natural response is that it lowers the leptin levels, and this in turn protects your fat stores. Now, you got to remember, in a ketogenic diet, we're actually doing the keto diet so that we can burn fat, and these low leptin levels are preventing us from getting to our goals. Too sciencey? Okay, basically all you need to know is that low leptin levels make you reach a plateau, and if you want to overcome that ketogenic plateau, you need a refeed day. Reason number two, it restores your glycogen stores. Now, in my video on the basics of the ketogenic diet, I spoke about how there are two kinds of keto diets. The first is the textbook ketogenic diet meant for anyone who's just trying to lose weight in general. And the second is for the gymmer who wants to burn fat and kind of get shredded. Now remember, just for ketosis to start, you need to deplete all the glycogen from your muscles. And when you deplete all the glycogen, you can't push as hard in the gym while you're on ketosis. Now, if you're executing an ideal ketogenic diet, you'll see that somewhere between day 14 and day 20, you'll kind of feel super tired. You won't be able to push as hard in the gym. And that's primarily because your body's been depleted of glycogen for a while. That's the second reason you need refeed days. So you'll notice that after doing a refeed day, your energy levels are substantially more. You'll be able to push much harder in the gym and you're fueled till at least your next refeed day. Reason number three, the psychological aspect. Keto is the best fat loss diet, but you have to be some kind of a maniac if 5 days into keto, you're not craving a burger or a pizza. In those 40 days of taking up this diet, keto can be very difficult, but your difficulty level can kind of be reduced through your refeed days. And I honestly feel that this is the number one reason you need a refeed day, to kind of keep you mentally stable and kind of keep you motivated to execute your whole fat loss process. Okay, now before I get to what you need to do on a refeed day, there's a few key points you need to note. Key point number one is that even on a refeed day, ideally you want to stay below your maintenance calories. Remember, the whole point of a ketogenic diet is to burn fat, and you kind of want to keep the whole fat loss process going. Second key point to note, you will put on some amount of weight after a refeed day. Now keep in mind, this is completely normal. It happens to everyone, and most importantly, a day or two after your refeed day, you'll be in a state of ketosis once again, and your fat loss will continue from there. Third key point to note, after your refeed, you're going to feel super bloated and you're going to feel sick, but it's completely normal. It's just your body reacting to all the carbohydrate it's been given after the state of starvation or whatever you want to call it. Okay, finally and most importantly, refeed days are super fun, but you got to keep your long-term goal in mind. Your long-term goal is fat loss. So on a refeed day, you want to concentrate on your carb macros. You can go anywhere between 400 to 600 grams of carbs. Now, when it comes to fat and protein, remember you're having 400 grams of carbohydrates and you're trying to stay below your maintenance calories. So don't overdo it with the fat. And when it comes to protein, remember you're trying to burn fat without burning muscle. So you do want to have some amount of protein at least. Even if you're not hitting your protein goal, try going up to at least 80% of what you normally eat on any other day of the ketogenic diet. That's super crucial. Okay, now let's get to the actual process of a refeed day. Now there are two ways you can go about this. The first is the ideal way that's actually backed by research. Now according to this way, your goal has to be to hit 8 to 10 grams of carbs per kg of lean body mass. How do you calculate your lean body mass? You calculate it through your fat percent. Now, I'm not going to go into the details of that, but that's the general rule of thumb. So that again works out to around 400 to 600 grams of carbs for most people. So on a refeed day before your workout, you're going to have a normal ketogenic meal, your omelette or whatever. Finish the workout. Immediately after that, you'll want to have a high GI liquid carbohydrate. So this is any sugary drink that will give you an insulin spike and start off the process of replenishing your glycogen stores. After this, about an hour or so after your workout, you want to have a very big meal of at least 100 grams of carbs. And post this, every 2 or 3 hours, you kind of want to divide the rest of your carb portions throughout the day. Now that's the ideal scientific way, but to be honest, it's boring and I personally don't feel it's practical. Okay, now the second way is the practical way. Now this isn't backed by research, but it's backed by beer biceps. This is what I experienced and this method worked for me, and it's also worked for a bunch of my clients who are following the ketogenic diet. Okay, now this is how I went about my own refeed day. So I started my day with my normal pre-workout ketogenic meal, but I tried keeping my fat a little low in that meal. After my workout, I actually made it a point to avoid all sugars and immediately go to the restaurant of my choice. Remember, a ketogenic diet is psychologically very difficult. So whatever you're craving, go to that restaurant and have that kind of food. Again, ideally try staying away from high GI desserts and try loading up on medium GI or low GI options like even a burger, a pizza, anything that's just not completely sweet, anything that doesn't have too much sugar. Most importantly, it should satisfy your mind. That, according to me, is the main point of taking up a refeed day. You should kind of just be psychologically ready for the next 14 to 20 days. That's the most important thing. The only precautions I took on my refeed day were that I stayed away from dessert and I made sure that I worked out, and I worked out really hard. Okay, so my final suggestion would be that ideally try stretching out the time between your refeed days. If you can take a refeed day once every 20 days, that'll work like magic for you. But the minimum you should be taking is 14 days, no lesser than that. If you go lesser than that, you won't see great results in terms of fat loss. Remember, we're doing the ketogenic diet in the first place for fast fat loss, and it's just a matter of 1 to 3 months. So for 3 months, if you can stretch out your refeed days to once in every 20 days, that's what will give you the fastest fat loss. Hey guys, so that was the video for today. If you liked it, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Now, a lot of people try to attempt the ketogenic diet and try to burn off their fat, but they're not able to achieve their goals because they've not understood the concepts of the ketogenic diet well. So if you want to understand the science and concepts of keto, make sure you check out my ketogenic diet playlist by clicking on that card.